Motorola today presented not one new G4 but two, as you can see here. This is the G4 Plus. Later on I will tell you the differences between those two. Let me first start with what's in common with both, what's new on the G4 compared to the predecessor, that's the G3, the last year's model 2015. And as you can see, first of all, it's getting way bigger here because the display is now, instead of 5.0 inch, it's now 5.5. So here it's, let's say 72 millimeters. You could reach the opposite corner with your thumb without any problem here. And now with 5.5 inch, you have to stretch. It's quite okay still, but you have to stretch a little bit. So it's a little bit harder to get with one thumb, but it's still possible, a good compromise, let's call it like that. And especially you have to be aware of that it's just 155 grams compared to 153. Only 2 grams more, and that's really astonishing because first time I held the new G4 in my hand, first thing I did is open the backside and see if there is inserted already the battery, but of course it was. As you can see here, it's fixed again. By the way, 3000 milliamps, 20% more than on the predecessor with 2470. Of course, you have to with a bigger display. And you now will have in all models, there's no choice anymore, dual SIM. So you have 2 slots for nano SIM. And here a third slot for micro SD, here up to 128 gigabyte. Now on the predecessor it was officially up to 32 gigabyte only. Even in most cases it worked, but there was no guarantee. Internal memory is, well, it's a little bit tricky. We start here with that one now today with 16 gigabyte internal memory, but you know, like that is on Motorola, they have that Moto Maker, their website, their online shop where you can buy the devices. And there we will have, first of all, several designs. You can design your own individual model. Front is always white or black. And then you have different accents like these things here. And of course, different covers for the backside. 8 colors in total. I could get these 3 more here. Especially I like that deep blue over here. And there are some like mint or something. So 8 colors, and especially in the Moto Maker, in most cases in former models, so I guess it will be the same here with the G4, you have different sizes for the internal memory. So when they start with 16 gigabyte, I guess at least 32 gigabyte, maybe 64 gigabyte. So you can have that choice. And the second thing you should know is that there is it's really thin with 7.9 millimeters here and 9.8 millimeters here where the camera module is sitting. On the back side it's flat, so it's feeling for a 5.5 inch. So the haptics is really great, the weight is really great, but you have of course some compromise to do that, because I've been told it would have been thicker if we would have done it again like the predecessor with IPX7. So the predecessor could drop officially into water. Here it's now some nano coating. So all the materials inside and out have a nano coating, so water is purling a little bit off of it. So if you have some raindrops or something, no problem at all, but especially these connectors are not officially built to fall into water, so I would be careful. So you have to think if this compromise is good for you. I find it okay because I'm not dropping my phones into water. So it's I think better to make it smaller and more lightweight and flatter and thinner instead of having that IP protection. Both would be best, of course, but if you have to have the choice, then I guess this one is the better choice. Then you have new processor, of course. It's now the Snapdragon 617. So the predecessor have had the 410. So you now have 8 cores instead of 4, and especially 1.5 gigahertz. The new Adreno GPU, Adreno 405, and 2 gigabyte of RAM has had already the predecessor. So I guess it will be a little bit better in the benchmarks, in the runtime tests. But as you can see, like on the predecessor, as it's native Android, no special UI from Motorola over there, so it was fluid already on the predecessor. So I guess it's okay, but there will be not the best one for that price range. Of course, I will give you the price at the end of the video, like always. 4G dual-SIM HSPA had the predecessor, but now is coming new Wi-Fi in 5 gigahertz band, but no Wi-Fi AC. So it's Wi-Fi N, 2.5 and 5 gigahertz band, but no Wi-Fi AC and no NFC in case you mind of that. So what's exactly the same is the camera module. Like on the predecessor, it's 13 megapixels, video in Full HD, and that dual tone flash was on the predecessor. Exactly the same. And at least on the paper, you might think it's the same front camera, but it isn't, because it has still 5 megapixels, and it's still an aperture here in the lens of f2.2. 2.0 on the backside, by the way, but here it's now that it's more it's more wide. You have now 87 instead of 78 degrees from the viewing angle, and especially a new sensor below with bigger sensor pixels. So Motorola is telling me 1.4 micrometers each photo sensor, so gathering more light. So in low light situations, maybe a little bit better. Let's knock on wood that really is. We will have that in the test, of course. So this is that over here, the basic model, and now coming to the G4 Plus. Exactly the same display, IPS dual domain 5.5 inch, 1080p, you have the same dimensions, same weight, same battery, everything's the same except 2 things. The first one you will have detected already. It's here on the front, you have that fingerprint sensor. It's no home or something if you have the navigation for that. It's totally, let's say, Android conformity. So it's just really to unlock the device only. But this is doing really quickly, like you can see here, and even from weird angles here, working quickly and correctly. Great of that. You have 5 fingers to insert, of course, and you might have seen here already, or let me take this one because it needs always some time to grab it up, that always on display. If you move it, then you will have that info, like example for, of course, date and hour, and especially if you have new messages or something. But as you have seen here, it's really, really short because it's no AMOLED, it's IPS, so they have to be aware that the battery runtime is still okay. So it's really shortly, but better than nothing, let's call it like that. And the second thing the Plus has as an advantage compared to the basic G4 is the camera that has 16 megapixels. Video still in Full HD, and especially that laser autofocus. Like on this one, you have face detection and contrast, and here as a third autofocus method is coming in addition laser autofocus. Ranges up to 1.5 meters, so if you're having friends photographed, you know, people in close range, then this one with the autofocus is the better one, I guess, for you. And what I want to show you once more here on the basis model is the camera module, because it's nothing only on the Plus. Is first of all, you have from the left side, of course, this is your settings. But what I wanted to show is a professional mode here on both, so that you can have your ISO number or even your focus here manually adjusted, white balance and everything. So this one is for photo fans, I guess a big pro, because in most cases I've tried out, you can have better experiences in manual mode, but it takes some time. And this feature is not new, but nevertheless, I wanted to show you that you can even in that regular photo mode have your brightness adjustments just by turning here, set the autofocus, and then turn over there. It's not new, I know. Yeah, these are the differences, just two of them here, confirming the G4 Plus. Now coming to the prices. This one here, the basic in 16 GB will be 249 euros. Germany, Europe, including tax, like always, prices may vary depending on your country. And 50 bucks more, 299 for the Plus model. And of course, still some more if you want to have the 32 GB model, and in case there might be one 64 GB. And last year's G3 models has been here in Germany plus 30 euros for each step ahead. I hope this will be the same one, maybe a little bit more expensive. I am not quite sure. But they are coming both in this quarter, meaning during June. Again, 249, 299. I hope this was okay for you for a first quick impression here from the Motorola Moto G4 and G4 Plus. Thanks for watching, take care, and bye.